Isn't Christmas just the best time of the year? Except it's not Christmas, it's August. It feels like Christmas though, because we have a brand spanking new CZ457 MTR, which we're going to be kitting out as a match rifle for NRL 22/PRS 22 matches.
In this video, you are going to see a complete transformation as we install a whole bunch of aftermarket parts and turn this very good rimfire into something truly special, with the goal of setting it up with the same form and feel as my FX DRS Pro. Think of it as like a sister rifle.
We're going to get into the what in just a moment. We've got a whole bunch of incredible, high quality, top class products here from MDT, from A-Tec, Timney triggers, Area419, Warrior, and of course an element Theos that we're going to be fitting on here. But let's start with the why, because I suppose you're wondering why we've suddenly got a rimfire sitting on the table here. So we'll start off with the fact that I've had this bad boy for quite a while now and have completely fallen in love with it. This is an FX DRS Pro. It's in an MDT ACC chassis, and it is as good as you can get as far as air rifle, precision rifle goes. Absolutely top class. It's a competition winning gun. I've won some really big matches with this, including RMAC in the US, which earned me a whopping $20,000. So I absolutely love this gun, and I think it's probably fair to say that this is the future. Air guns now are capable of shooting tighter extreme spreads and standard deviations than rimfires, and with a high ballistic coefficient. Recently we've had bow tail slugs like this one over here, which allow for BCs around 0.2, whereas most rimfire bullets are sitting around 0.15 BC. So this is, as far as I'm concerned, the future. However, what I want to do, and this is what the whole rimfire project is about, I want to get more involved on the rimfire side and start sort of alternating, every second match I'll switch between the air rifle and the rimfire and really get a feel for the status of where each of these technologies is right now, so that I can better compare them. We'll probably do a video in the future, like the strengths and weaknesses of air guns versus rimfires, kind of a state of the nation, like where we're at with each of these technologies. And the idea is that this rimfire, we're putting it in the same chassis that the air gun is in, so that everything feels the same. ACC Premier Gen 2 is the chassis we're putting on here. Everything can be adjusted to feel exactly the same. We'll balance it the same, and we should have very similar performance as far as velocity and bullet drop and wind drift and stuff like that. So it'll really give us a good template to work with. Before I introduce all these amazing accessories, let's quickly talk about this gun itself, because I think it's good to explain why we're not leaving it stock. Talking about the word stock, the MTR, which stands for Match Target Rifle, comes with this beautiful walnut stock. And at first I was actually just looking for a barreled action, because the MTR stock doesn't balance well enough and doesn't have the right sort of cheek piece adjustment and stuff for precision rifle. However, I'm very glad that I got it with the stock, because this stock, I think when we're hunting, if we want to go do some monkey hunting or something like that, I can pop it back in the stock, and this stock's a fantastic option for hunting. So we're going to be taking the stock off right now, but it's not going to be sitting and gathering dust. We will actually use it for hunting. But yeah, beautiful walnut stock with really nice stippling, nice wide forend. The one thing we will change on this stock is I've got a Pic rail over here, and we will probably have to drill an extra hole in the forend of the stock and fit the pic rail, because I actually don't have any bipods anymore that mount to sling studs. All my bipods attached to either Arc or Pic, and so we're going to want to have a bipod here for zeroing purposes, for long range shooting purposes, but also for hunting. But that's the MTR, Match Target Rifle. What's different between the MTR and the standard CZ457 is that the the match chamber in the MTR has tighter tolerances, so when you actually move the bolt forward and seat the bullet in place, it's engaging the rifling and sitting quite firm, and those tighter tolerances just allow for more consistent precision and better performance. But yep, that's the MTR. There's a lot of things we will change on here, and I think that's what we should discuss next. All these beautiful components that we're going to be adding. Let's start off with probably the most important, and that's the Premier Gen 2 chassis right over here. It comes in two parts. We've got the buttstock, which is the lightweight buttstock. It doesn't have all the finger adjustments and all that, but we want to keep the back light because being a rimfire, the barrel is not that heavy and we want it to balance properly. The more weight we add in the back, the more weight we have to add in the front. And there's the first piece of the puzzle. Just to show you the difference between the color there, there's the DRS Pro and there's the ACC Premier. So you can see very, very similar, just the color's a bit different, but we'll be able to fit all the same accessories, interior weights to help it balance without adding a bunch of stuff on the outside. We can put our own grip on here. So this will bolt in right over here. We've got the Elite vertical grip. It's the same grip I've got on the air rifle, so once again we want to actually keep everything consistent. So that grip will get fitted right over here, like that. Interior fore-end weights. I don't know exactly how many of these we will need. We have a control bridge. Now this is something I don't have on the air rifle, but essentially the control bridge allows you to put your thumb or your hand over the front of the chassis when you're on a prop and put some downward pressure without touching the barrel. Next up, we've got a series of exterior fore-end weights. So these can get bolted to these M-lock slots on the side, and I'll take out one or two of them just to show you, but I'm only going to add these once we've got the internal weights, so we can see how many we actually need. But yeah, these look new to me. They're slightly different to the other MDT ones I have. Look really nice, and there you go, they fit right there. Rubber dampeners. I don't think it will have as much of an effect on the rimfire as it has on, for example, a centerfire rifle, but we're going to give those a try and see what they do. MDT Crush It stage timer. Not going to take this out right now, but I've been running this for a while on my air gun. It essentially allows you to program your part time and actually have it count down and give you warnings as you near the end of your time on a stage. Skypod Gen 2. I've been running the Skypod for a while on my air rifle. What I love about it is that firstly, it's pretty easy to deploy, but secondly, it's got some adjustments from side to side like that. So I can have it either in a very wide, low, sturdy position, or if I really need to get it high, I can put it narrow like this and extend it, and you've got a lot of height and you can almost sort of sit down with it. Love the Skypod, and this is one of the Arca/Picatinny dual purpose bipods, although we only really need the Arca for this chassis. So that's all the MDT stuff. There was a lot of it, but moving on to some of the other goodies over here. Area419 Picatinny rail. We actually already fitted this to the rifle. It's a 30 MOA tilted rail, which, you know, on a rimfire which has significantly dropped at long range, will just extend the useful range of the scope and allow us to really push the ranges out. Next up, A-Tec Wave carbon silencer. Now the reality is I could have chosen any of my many airgun silencers because the thread on the front of the MTR is a 1/2x20, which is the exact same that we have on all the air rifles. I believe it's different for the US models because the US is funny about the legality of silencers, but here in South Africa and I think the rest of the world, it's 1/2x20. And the reason I like this so much, firstly, it weighs basically nothing. Secondly, it looks really good. Thirdly, the actual integration between the barrel and the silencer, it's pretty much made for this model. So you can see how smoothly that connects there, and yeah, it adds no weight. The reason that we can get away with such a small volume silencer on the Rimfire as opposed to on an air rifle is because the Rimfire operates at a much higher peak pressure to push that bullet out. It's the reason why we can get so much velocity out of such a short barrel, but it's also the reason that we don't need such a big volume silencer. This thing is dead quiet with the small volume silencer, whereas an air rifle, because you have a lower working pressure, you need more volume of air to get the bullet up to speed, and that's why the larger volume is so important on an air rifle. Area419 bolt knob. So we're going to essentially remove this little bolt knob on the side, and then we'll fit this one on. Timney trigger. CZ trigger is not terrible. I would say it's a great hunting trigger. However, we are not going to be using this primarily as a hunting gun. This is going to be a competition grade gun. What else do we have here? Warrior Magwell. This is a South African product, and all the guys I speak to in South Africa speak very highly of this. Apparently one of the weaknesses of the Magwell in the 457, especially when it's in a chassis, when there's a gap around the Magwell, is that it's plastic and it doesn't offer enough support to the magazine. So if you bump your magazine, you can actually crack that Magwell and damage it. This is aluminium, and this will hold up much better. So it's one of those things I was strongly recommended. I got a bunch of 10 round metal CZ magazines. So in matches, obviously the five round magazine that's included in here is not going to be enough or not going to be desirable. This is going to be very useful when hunting. Reason being is that if we've got it in the stock and we want to balance on a bag, that's the balance point right there. And if you had the 10 round mag in here, you wouldn't be able to rest it flat on a bag. So we'll probably use this 5 round mag when we are hunting, but for now we're going to remove it, and for matches we'll use a couple 10 round mags. We've got this from Short Action Precision, another highly recommended product by the guys in the US, and essentially this will get stuck on the side of the chassis here, and it's a elasticated magazine holder. So we'll be able to slide a spare magazine in the holder like this, and if we need to do a mag change for whatever reason during a stage, this can just get pulled out like this and slotted straight in, and you don't have to be digging around in your pockets for extra magazines. So that's really helpful. And then lastly, rings and scope. I've taken the Theos for now, the Element Theos 60-36, which has been my primary competition scope. I've taken it off the DRS Pro just for the time being. I don't quite like this gray color with this, so we'll probably swap that out for a black Theos at some point, and we'll put this gray one back on the DRS. But yeah, this is a perfect match for this rifle. And I will decide on ring height. We've got some high rings here, and I think these are medium rings, and we'll see what's a better fit for this particular setup once we've got everything mounted. Lastly, we've got an extended mag latch and spacer kit for the CZ magazine. I know that the CZ mag in the chassis is sometimes hard to reach. This chassis does have a cutout here. It's one of the unique things about the ACC Premier Gen 2. It's got this cutout where you can reach in and actually reach that mag latch. But yeah, there you go, and we'll get this one fitted too. So without further ado, let's get down to the actual installation. We'll do everything one by one, starting with, I would say, the assembly of the stock, and then we'll get this stock off and start work on all the parts that connect to this barreled action.
Firstly, we need to assemble the chassis and grip, making sure that everything's torqued down nice and tight.
This grip is very, very adjustable, and we're just going to kind of put it roughly where we expect it to be now, and then we'll adjust it properly later once we've got everything set up, because you know the grip, the distance between the grip and the trigger shoe is quite important, and I want to adjust it to be exactly the same as the air gun. So one of the beauties of this particular Elite grip It's extremely adjustable, so we can kind of set it up exactly how we want it. We have to remove this cheek piece to be able to get some of these rubber bits and pieces in. So let's do that.
I really struggled to get these rubber dampeners in place at first. There was just so much friction. However, as soon as I applied just a tiny bit of lubrication, they slid in place really easily.
There you go, all done. Looks really good if you ask me. This color is definitely growing on me. But yeah, that's step number one. Let's put these internal weights in. I noticed that you can't slide them out once the barrel action's in. So I'm just going to put all the internal weights in, and yeah, then we'll start work on the barrel action. Right, all our weights are in. All those screws are nipped nice and tight, and you can see them all over there on the inside. So yeah, that hasn't added a ton of weight. I think we might still need to add some external weights, but we've got enough to add if we need to. I have to say, kind of sad to take the stock off. It's really, really a beautiful stock. As I said, we will be using it for hunting and stuff, but it just doesn't balance well enough or have the adjustability that we need for precision rifle matches. So it unfortunately has to be put aside for a bit. Very plasticky Magwell there. This one should be significantly better. And I think at this point we probably want to bring in the MDT extended mag release. It's going to make life much easier for us. So we've got to pop a pin out here. And this pin has to then go inside the warrior part, like that. Then we have to pop another pin out the back over here. Okay, that should not go anywhere. Looks pretty good if you ask me. Now for the trigger. There's some very, very fiddly work here, like little pins with little springs on them and stuff that's very time consuming. It's the kind of thing you want to do properly. It's really taken me a while to figure out that on this Warrior Magwell, if I use the extended mag release, I actually cannot fit in either of these metal magazines. There's something to do with the dimensions and the curvature of the magazines that the extended mag release actually gets in the way. So if you try to use a metal mag, you slide it in, the mag release actually gets restricted by the mag, and then you can't release it. So I had to take this thing apart a few times, try and get the mags out. It was a little bit stressful, but yeah, we've had to put the original mag release back in. Next thing, Timney trigger, little split pin spring we've got to try and fit in here. And fingers crossed it doesn't go flying everywhere, because this is a very difficult part to work with right here. I don't know about you, but I think that looks so good. Let's see if we can get it to focus here. That looks amazing. Okay, now for one of the more exciting parts of all of this, and that's getting the barreled action into the chassis and then start torquing it down. Now I'm just going to torque it down lightly to start off, and then we'll get an actual torque wrench and make sure that it's correctly torqued down to the right spec. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? And this is a plan I've had for a while, so it's a good feeling to see it all set up. That's seriously nice. Yeah, it's still quite back heavy, so I'm definitely going to have to add some more forend weights, but that's pretty much what I expected. Okay, front bridge. I think there is a right and a wrong way to do this. I want to basically figure out where my thumb is going to be if I've got this on a prop, and I reckon right here in the front is going to be where I want to put that. Let's drop these in place. So the bolt knob comes off pretty easily when it's heated up. Very hot. Ouch. And then this one we'll just thread straight back on. And there's a little bit of Loctite on here already. So I'll just leave that, give it a good nip. Feels amazing. So we will need to add some external weights, but before we do that, let's get the rifle scope fitted so that we can actually get the weight distribution as it would be before we go ahead. So let's just start up this camera here so you can see from above what we're working on. But Theos is already in mounts from our previous gun, so it should be leveled and all that stuff. I think that looks like a pretty good spot for it right there. Second last rail slots. And then with this tool over here, which is set to 68 inch-pounds, we can literally just turn it to the clicks, and that's our scope in place. Now obviously we want to check eye relief, cheek piece height, all that stuff. I can already feel instantly that I'm going to need to move this cheek piece backwards to about there. Do you know what, that already feels very good. Well, we've adjusted the scope, we've added 4 weights in the front, we've got our internal weights, everything's fitted, everything feels good. Cheek piece height's adjusted, length of pull's adjusted, all that stuff. And I would say we are pretty much ready to rock and roll with this gun. I think I'll probably be shooting it without the silencer in a match. All it does is make it a bit quieter. This thing basically weighs nothing, so it's not really going to help with weight or anything. It's just going to make the gun longer. But I rate when we do some hunting, what we'll probably do is pop it back in this stock temporarily, fit the silencer, and I think that'll be a great hunting setup. So I'm probably going to do some testing at the range with this exact setup. We've got a bunch of different batches of ammo up here, or different lots. We've got Ely match, I think 1 lot of Ely match, and then we've got 3 different lots of SK rifle match. So we'll play around with this over the coming days. We'll find what this gun likes out of these, which is, you know, what I could find locally, and then we'll go back and we'll buy a whole bunch of the same batch, of whatever batch or lot works best. And then everything else we can just use for sort of hunting ammo or practice ammo. There is one more thing we need to do, and that is to fit the little mag holder from Short Action Precision. And to do that, we're basically going to flip the gun on its side, and we're going to take the piece of Velcro, which has a sticky part on this side, and we're just going to fit it right here to the side of the Magwell area, just to show you what it does look like with the silencer. There you go. Let's pop this bipod up. And that is our project gun done and dusted, at least for now. I think it looks awesome. Probably head out to the range very, very soon and start testing it out. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you then.